So TMZ's docuseries on the Courtney Clenney case is airing tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox, and it'll be on Hulu tomorrow. We'll get a live stream together for that to have a chat and react to it. But let's catch up to speed with some things that have happened in the last week or so since the parents were arrested. We got to read their warrants. If you want to check those out, those are on the channel in another video, and I'll link to those in the description. But we've got some new statements from attorneys. We've also got a new witness being named. And we've got some sneak peeks from this TMZ interview that seem to suggest that OnlyFans models are sticking together. So let's do a quick roundup. First, here's a quick story. You'll notice these are different mugshots. This is because they were extradited over to Miami-Dade, and then they were booked again there and got these newer, fresher-looking mugshots. And so they ended up bonding out on Wednesday last week.
Why'd you guys do it?
Holding hands, this Texas couple is now out of jail, but with an open Miami-Dade case for allegedly hacking a computer
Your daughter innocent?
that belonged to the man their daughter is accused of murdering.
The prosecution plays dirty.
They will do and say anything to win this case.
Kim and Deborah Clenney spoke to TMZ prior to their Miami-Dade booking.
Every word we say to each other is being recorded.
At the time, they had no idea they too would soon be facing charges.
So they're asserting in this team, that's a clip from the TMZ interview that's going to air in full tonight. They're asserting, not just curious, not just wondering, but they're asserting that every word that they say to each other is being recorded. Now, if you watched the motion hearing last week, I have that video with commentary on my channel. I'll link to that in the description as well. We have the prosecution saying there are no wiretaps. So, I mean, maybe there are, and that would be a big problem if we were told that there were no wiretaps in court, but there was no application for wiretaps, nothing of the sort. So now we have the parents in an interview saying the prosecution plays dirty and they're recording, or presumably someone is recording every word that they speak. What do you think?
Just one station was there Tuesday morning as the pair walked into Miami-Dade jail.
They were arrested for, it says, offenses against computer users.
Both of them appearing in bond court Tuesday afternoon.
These are serious charges, so it's important you stay in touch with your attorney.
Now from WSVN, what we're watching now, we get this statement from the now representatives of Kim and Courtney Clenney, of Kim and Deborah Clenney. And so I wanted to read this statement from their attorneys here in full. It says, on January 30th, Kim and Deborah Clenney were surprised in their home in Texas by Florida authorities executing an extradition warrant to place them under arrest and transport them back to Florida. Recognizing the absurdity and excessiveness of this action, a Texas judge ordered them released after 2 days. Today, Kim and Deborah voluntarily surrendered to the Turner Guilford Night Correction Center in Miami-Dade County, posted bond, and are being released. They have both been charged with unlawful access to a computer. The allegations are frivolous and entirely without merit. The charge is such an overreach by law enforcement that it seems clear they are being targeted for being witnesses in their daughter's case. This misuse of power and show of force is simply an attempt to bully them and scare them off from supporting their daughter, which will never happen. So that's from Ratsan and Facadomo. And we also get a statement from Kimberly Wald, who is one of the attorneys. She's part of the Haggard law firm, which is representing the Obumseli estate in their lawsuit, their civil suit against Clenney, the building, and a whole bunch of other entities. So this statement from Kim reads, the Obumseli family is saddened to hear the reports that Courtney's parents illegally took possession of Christian's laptop. This is yet another disturbing reminder of the horrible crimes committed against their family. We support the state attorney's office thorough investigation into Christian's murder and continue to seek justice through the criminal and civil justice system. We are reserving further comment at this time until documentation about this arrest is released by law enforcement. What cannot be forgotten is the daily pain felt by Christian's loved ones because a smart, caring, critical member of their lives was stolen from them, because of failures by his abuser, the One Paraiso apartment complex, and the other security and management companies who did not act to protect this innocent victim of domestic violence. Now, I'm not going to play this video in full, but I'll put the link in the description to this as well. It's from Deep Dive True Crime. They have a full elevator view of when medics and police are arriving to the scene after the crime was committed. And going in line with what Kimberly Wald and the Haggard law firm are saying about the building staff's failure to protect Obumseli, there's someone here that appears to be building staff. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a neighbor. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure why, if he was just a neighbor, he was allowed to be in this elevator the whole time. You can go through this 16-minute clip on your own. There are one or two pictures I haven't seen before. You get to see this picture of Christian Obumseli's stitched lip, which was mentioned in the text messages that we read from February. But in this video, you'll see this person, this individual here, pull his cell phone out multiple times and snap pictures in really sneaky ways. Here's one of the examples. They zoom up in on him because Courtney is sitting in this corner here. And then they're about to bring Christian Obumseli out on the gurney while he's still alive but fighting for his life. Which is kind of shifty. There's some other angles of it too, and which is very quick. He's so quick to pull out his phone here. Like dunk dunk. So again, this is a 16-minute video of, the elevator back and forth with the police and the first responders, the medics arriving. This link will be in the description if you want to watch that in full. So shout out to Deep Dive True Crime and also Miranda James for pointing out that this video was out there. It's one of those things that if this individual is associated with the building or security in any type of way, and the Obumseli estate takes their case to a jury trial, this is something that I can imagine jurors would be sympathetic to, watching someone just pull out their phone and try to, what do you think? But again, shout out to Deep Dive True Crime. And I think a jury could be inclined to agree that, failures of one Paraiso, the security, whoever that man in the red shirt is affiliated with. And one last detail from the statement here is the attorneys for the estate of Christian Obumseli are still calling it Christian's laptop, which seems to me pretty plausible to assume if Courtney had to guess at the password for it. If you were there for the warrant readings, we got some details on it. They asked her multiple times to take guesses at the possible passwords and then PIN numbers once they identified that it must be a 4-digit PIN. And it ended up being Christian Obumseli's birthday. So not exactly that hard to guess, but it did take multiple tries from Courtney to guess certain combinations to give to Sabrina when Sabrina was visiting for the law firm to then relay to the parents for the parents to then try to get into the laptop. You would think if it was something like that indicates that it wasn't Courtney's laptop, that it was probably just Christian's. But we have this statement here now.
With their daughter and the victim, Christian Obumseli, and Courtney Clenney had authorized access to that laptop. The attorney also said that the computer is useless. Kim and Deborah Clenney will be arraigned on the charges on February 12th. Clenney was also charged with the same offense in addition to the second-degree murder charge for the death of Obumseli. The Clenney's attorney also said that that computer that was allegedly, according to the prosecution, accessed, that it was a shared computer with their daughter and the victim, Christian Obumseli, and Courtney Clenney had authorized access to that laptop. The attorney also said that the computer is useless. Kim and Deborah Clenney will be arraigned on the charges on February 12th. Clenney was also charged with the same.
What do you think about that? That it was something that Courtney had authorized access to and that it was a shared laptop. Having authorized access to and being a shared laptop could be the same thing, but it also sounds a little bit different. That could mean she had permission to access it one time, but that it wasn't actually a shared laptop. Again, personally, my opinion is if she had to guess at the PIN numbers and passcodes, she's either a very forgetful person or it wasn't a habit for her to be going into that laptop. However, if the 4-digit PIN number was just Christian Obumseli's birth date, I guess one could argue he wasn't trying very hard to protect it, but in any case, it was still PIN protected. Just because you can guess someone's PIN number doesn't mean you have right to access or authorization to access. Those are just my thoughts, my opinions. But my guess is if it was such an easy PIN number and Courtney still took multiple tries to take a guess at the 4-digit PIN number to unlock the computer, I'm leaning towards it not being a shared laptop. And then let's get to witnesses. So Radar had an exclusive story released on Friday that there's new witnesses being revealed that the defense plans to call in the murder trial of OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney. So OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney presented 4 new witnesses to the court to aid in her murder trial just days before she pled not guilty to an additional charge of interception of wire communications related to her boyfriend's killing in April 2022. In court documents submitted on January 31st and obtained by Radar Online, the former social media sensation who claimed she acted in self-defense during the fatal stabbing of Christian Toby Obumseli listed the names of John Paul Salib and Emmanuel Paris, both of whom are from Canada. Margarita Gutierrez from MB2 Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Miami, Florida, and Arthur Cupp from Illinois were among the new names. So Arthur Cupp's that witness that said he saw Christian swinging at Courtney on the balcony. Last November, she submitted an updated expert witness list, which included Dr. John V. Maraschini. Maraschini is a longtime pathologist with over 2 decades of experience based in South Miami. He's affiliated with multiple hospitals in the area per online records. Now, last, let's get into this preview of the TMZ Fox docuseries that's going to air tonight at 9 Eastern. We've got 2 clips, but this first clip is involving 2 other OnlyFans models that created content with Courtney Clenney at some point, who also had met Christian Obumseli. They seem to be standing up for Courtney. What do you think? So, here's their title for this clip: OnlyFans model Courtney Clenney, violent rage is escalated by drugs supplied by now slain boyfriend. And again, this is a TMZ exclusive. Let's react.
It was just a weird vibe when they were together because you never know what was going to happen between the two of them. I met Courtney and Christian on a content trip in Palm Springs. And when I arrived there, my manager gave me the down low on who I should work with and who I should stay away from. One person he did warn me about was Courtney, saying that she's a little wild, saying that Courtney gets drunk, Courtney does drugs, and to, get in, get the content with her, and get out.
And get out. Now, by the way, this is Patricia Paty K. Krashik? I don't know how to say it. You know me and my pronunciations, but maybe Paty K. We'll go with Paty K.
The thing that stood out to me the most, and I will remember it to this day, is the way Christian was offering drugs to Courtney very quickly, very freely. Christian would literally kind of on a platter be like, here's Coke, do this line.
What do you think she's getting at here?
Platter be like, here's Coke, do this line.
And we're about to hear a really interesting line from Kristina Santa, but I want to pause on what Paty K just said. So Paty K started off by saying, hey, you never knew what you were going to get with the 2 of them together, which kind of looks like, oh, toxic couple. Then she says, I was on a content trip to Palm Springs and my manager told me, you got to watch out for Courtney. Out of everyone that's going to be there, watch out for Courtney Clenney. And get your content done, get out, right? So that sounds like a warning about Courtney specifically. So we go from them together, then watch out for Courtney. Then her last statement is, but Christian Obumseli would be handing her drugs to consume on a silver platter, kind of, which kind of turns the question asking towards Obumseli. Listen to this next line from Kristina Santa.
Like Christian liked when she was a little bit up. I'm not sure why.
So Christian seemed to like Courtney when she was messed up, not sober, and she's not sure why.
Drugs and alcohol were not just ways to blow off steam and have fun. They fueled
So it looks like we're going to get some new clips in this docuseries.
tempers, especially Courtney's. Temper targeted squarely at Christian.
Let's have a
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen the 2 clips we just saw where she was in like the goldish 2-piece outfit or with the outfit where she's in the couch kind of buried like that. But I do believe we've heard this audio. I do believe this audio is out there unless it's just a repetitive fight and there's multiple audios where the same things are being said. But this audio does sound familiar. But let me know if you've seen those other 2 videos. If not, they're going to be exclusive to this full-length docuseries.
Courtney, you're drunk right now, and it's hard to talk to you right now.
The crazy thing about Courtney and Christian is that from the outside, their relationship looked like it was perfect. But once they started drinking and getting a little loose, that's when you would start to see them get angry and start to fight. And it would go from 0 to 100 very fast.
So her statement here is also very they looked great, and then they would drink, and then they would fight. It would go from 0 to 100 very fast. So neither of these OnlyFans models, in these clips at least, are coming out and saying that, besides my one manager warning me, Paty K's manager, to watch out for Courtney Clenney, it's very much a they, two to tango type of representation from both of these guests on this docuseries. Very limited clips and obviously dramatized, you can tell by the music in the background. And then in another sneak peek clip that we get to see for this docuseries, we have the parents using an excuse or saying that there's an excuse as to why Courtney used the N-word against Christian. We're not just going to hear the parents excuse away certain word choices, but listen to how TMZ characterizes the ending of this relationship.
Christian Obumseli's killing was the last straw in a relationship laced with anger, brutality, and unrelenting violence. Now add race to the mix.
But when I hear the phrase last straw, that usually suggests that this is the last straw, this is the last time I'm dealing with something that someone else has been doing. I'm tired of dealing with it. There's an implication with the phrase last straw that is different than just saying something like the final moment or it all came to an end. The last straw kind of implies something precipitated it and places the blame on somebody. So I didn't really like that language personally. It seems to me this narrator, maybe this is Fox, maybe it's TMZ's narrators, are taking a position there.
Prosecutors want to introduce evidence of Courtney calling Christian a racial epithet.
My bad, I forgot to tell you that. That doesn't make you to act and call me a Yes, thank you. Call me from thank you.
She told me why she called him that. Because
She told me why. When do you think she told, if at all?
she wanted him to leave, and she said no self-respecting black man would stick around after being called that name. So she thought that was a way to get him to leave.
Obviously didn't work.
She liked him partly because he was black. I believe if Courtney were black.
And that matches, we know she went on the We in Miami podcast and was like, I like rich men, I like rich black men. I can pull that link and link to that in the description as well if you want to watch that interview. She stood up and raised her hand saying she was toxic. She knew she was toxic.
Black. She liked him partly because he was black. I believe if Courtney were black or if Christian were white, we would not be here.
So she believes, did you hear that? I had to play it twice. So she believes that if Courtney was black or Christian was white, we would not be here. So if they were not an interracial couple, that we would not be here. But you just said that her using a racially charged epithet did not get him to leave. So if these problems... Look, I could go on for another 10 minutes with my thought on that. Let me move forward. You let me know your thoughts. And I do want to say, you know, maybe it's possible, maybe it's true, maybe there is some plausibility there that people can say hurtful things hoping it will make someone else leave or go away. But in this scenario, I want to know when this recording happened and when Courtney came out and told her mom, hey, you know, I tried this strategy to try to get rid of him. Because if she only told her mom about it after the secret recording came out, it's a little bit different. Anyway, let's move on. And then we do have another interesting sneak peek. We'll close this out after this.
Parents who have never spoken publicly until now tell us some of that evidence shows their daughter definitely has a nasty side.
Well, I mean, it got worse when she drank. When she was drinking, she could be a lot more temperamental.
But they stand firmly behind Courtney's claim. She killed Christian in self-defense.
Oh my God, look at his face here. That just I feel like this tells a story.
They insist the abuse was a two-way street.
I do think it may have been mutually physical, but you have to remember that he weighed, what, 230
pounds.
230 pounds? And she...
Did you just hear that? I do think it may have been mutual, but you have to remember he's bigger. Yes, bigger people can do more damage to smaller people. But someone being bigger does not excuse the other person attacking them just because they are smaller than the other person.
He weighed 150.
Did she ever tell you she feared he would kill her?
Yes, he almost did. A couple weeks before that, she said that she was passing out. He was strangling her, and she said that it was going through her mind, oh my gosh, Mom.
Somebody get Pam Entertainment TV because we're hearing the S word again. And remember, there was initially a story where she's saying, Courtney Clenney, on April 3rd, that Christian Obumseli was pushing at her neck and hitting her at her neck. She didn't claim that he tried to strangle her in the moments leading up to the stabbing. But she did say that he pushed against the wall, pushed against her neck, and hit against her neck. And now we have Mom saying, yes, he's actually tried to do this before. And then we hear that S word. Where's Pam Entertainment TV? Somebody get Pam.
Mom's gonna have to play my funeral.
But what about that elevator video showing Courtney wailing on Christian? The Clenneys say it doesn't tell the real story.
What is not obvious, that elevator went directly to her landing. to go into
front
her
door.
apartment. And so you can see how desperate she is for him not to follow her. She's trying to push him off the elevator because she doesn't want him to come in. And you can see he's like a rock, her trying to push him out. And she can't push him out. And I think the people who've shown that video do tend to cut out the part where he has her in a headlock. He was swatting her off like a fly.
Okay, pause. I do think it is valid to say, hey, she's trying to leave and get away, right? That's something that's going to have to be argued, and the jury's going to be the finder of fact on what they ultimately decide, right? But watching this video, you are going to have the prosecution and the defense argue both sides. One, she's clearly the aggressor here from the prosecution, and then the defense is going to argue she's trying to leave the place. She's trying to go somewhere where the doors could close if he would just let her leave and she could leave. But he follows her, right? So the defense is going to argue that. But I do take issue with this idea that he does, they're insinuating that putting someone in a headlock after they've already been getting hit by the person they're going to put in a headlock. Does that seem offensive or defensive? Initially, it's not like he puts her in my opinion, it's not like he puts her in a headlock and then while he's headlocking her is punching her or anything like that. So I think if I was a juror and someone made this argument in front of me, like, oh, he put her in a headlock, clearly he was the one that was abusing or was abusive or was the aggressor in this moment. I mean, one could argue she has the right to leave, but at the same time, where does the physicality start?
Apartment. And so you can see how
when
desperate
does
she
the
is for
headlock
him
happen?
not to follow her. She's trying to push him off the elevator because she doesn't want him to come in. And you can see he's like a rock, her trying to push him out. And she can't push him out. And I think the people who've shown that video do tend to cut out the part where he has her in a headlock. He was swatting her off like a fly.
Swatting her off like a fly, but after what? Pretend you're a juror. Let me know what you think. And again, this full docuseries is going to air at 9 p.m. tonight. I'll put together a live stream. We can all talk about it because I love when you guys are in the chat sharing your insights and what you're observing that me as one person can miss all the time or get wrong. So appreciate you guys being here. You guys all take care and looking forward to see what you think about this.